documenting processes. And when you say that, what does that actually mean? Like, there's a lot of companies out there who they want all their processes documented, but they don't have a procedure for documenting processes, which should honestly come first, because if you don't, all of your procedures are going to look different. You can't tell at Evergrow which document was written by who, because it all looks the same. But if you work for a company that they give everybody like free will to document whatever they want, however they want, everything is going to look so different. And some people suck at it. You're not going to be able to hand that off to someone new. What we did to define processes and procedures, we just did things over and over. And then at a certain point, it kind of became second nature to us. Let's say you get your first client. It doesn't make any sense to document any processes yet because you don't know the actual like structured path that's going to happen every time. If you're defining procedures before you even define the process that happens repeatedly, you're going to be editing that procedure like every single day. And if you don't, that procedure is going to look vastly different from when you first do it to when you actually hand it to somebody to go do it.
If you're starting from zero, then that's where you start. Once you finally have something and you're beginning with something and you're in there doing the stuff, just record yourself doing it so you can reference it again later. Just as you're working, do your screen share and then talk about what you're going through as you're going through it. When you start writing, you need to think about where you're drawing a line on anybody who reads this, the level of knowledge that they have, even the individual words that you use. If somebody who's reading this in English isn't their first language, is this the best word that I can use? Can I use something simpler that's going to get the right idea across?
It's really good for our listeners who use contractors.
So Lissette is gone.
Lisette's gone. Yeah. I was trying to think of a cold open. I was like, I feel like I had something, but yeah. So yesterday, we had our last day with Lissette. We had over a month notice, and ultimately it came down to she's in Spain getting her master's, and the master's program is requiring her to take an internship locally in Spain, and it did not fly to count our agency as an internship. So with everything that she was already doing with school, her current workload here is way too much for her already. And on top of that, tacking on another internship. So it just didn't seem feasible for her. And we were all, I'd say we were all pretty torn up about it. But
we also kind of knew a little going into it, hey, I'm going to grad school. It's going to be fine. Like, oh, okay, come on. Yeah. Anytime you go to grad school and you say it's going to be fine, because grad school is not that hard.
Well, we knew it was going to be tough because, most people who go to grad school in the U.S., they keep their full-time job. You're already in a functioning.
No way.
Yeah.
Which ones?
Way.
What grad schools? That's not normal. She's a freak. She's an exception.
There's nobody who
okay, hold on.
Goes and gets their master's and quits their full-time job to do that.
Business masters, 100%.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
I agree. That's
well,
much
this is
more
marketing.
Normal. I know, but nobody's in medical being like,
yeah, for sure,
right? So,
well, they're doing their internship at a hospital or whatever, the residency. Yeah. That's what it's called.
I say that because my sister did it, and she was actually one of the few freaks who did work while doing it. And yeah, she's also wicked smart, so it's different. It's a problem because people sometimes will peripherally they'll extend that to me and be like, yeah, Cody's wicked smart too. I'm like, I'm not that smart. That's not thank you. I'm flattered, but no, this is a whole lot of less sleeping and more effort.
So we had a little party, a Google Meet party where we all got on and changed our background images to Bikini Bottom and played Scribble.io. I tried to load Jackbox, but I realized that my PC doesn't have speakers because I built it and I just haven't bought speakers. So there was no way to hear the audio. I couldn't put a microphone up to it and have everybody hear it and then also join on their phone or whatever.
I'm kind of surprised that you don't have speakers, external speakers.
Yeah, it was just never, I don't know. I am too, honestly. I'm a little surprised, but I'm there's a lot of things I'm really cheap on, and like there's things that I just prioritize in my life. But like I'm waiting for a package to arrive, and they're 2.7K 60 FPS image stabilization recording glasses with like a little spy camera in the
Oh
middle.
yeah.
Because I plan to wear those under my paintball mask and like record my games in first person because I think that'd be cool. We'll see how it works. I'm testing it, but like that's like a prioritization. Like, I'll spend $150 on that, but I won't buy speakers. And like also, if you look at my headphones, one of them has the little thing.
Oh, you lost the.
Yeah, I lost the other
Yeah.
one, and like I grabbed them, and like it must have caught on something, but like the little headphone earpiece that like is the cushion, it just like disappeared into the void. Like I have no. Do you ever like something falls down and you're like that went into a black hole and like it just went into a different dimension? And you're like, I don't know where it went.
Yeah, there's no saving that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, there's no vents. I'm in the basement. There's like no floor vents. I'm like, I have no idea where this thing went. And so now I just stick the raw like metal earpiece into my ear.
Well, I guess
It's
you have pets though. They could have eaten it or something, right?
they don't do that. They're not like other people's pets.
They're not. They're different pets. Yeah.
They don't eat. Well, I guess Faye does. She does eat her toys, but
Yeah. So Lissette, she's gone though. I'm proud of myself for. I sent that meme from Full Metal Alchemist where I don't know if you know the reference. I think Eva got it because she said it before, where she's like, "Oh, it's raining." Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So just it's an excuse to say if it's raining, then like if you're crying, then you can't. Nobody knows or notices because it's just the rain. So anyway, I didn't. There wasn't any rain. I was proud of myself because I took it a lot earlier and got over it. So
yeah.
I think a lot of people just think it's not a huge deal because there's this. I don't know. It feels like this sort of thing has gotten insensitive of, oh yeah, bosses are awesome. They make all the money. They don't have feelings, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, when you're a small business, the stuff is personal. Mm-hmm. So
yeah.
Anyway.
It's all right. Well, hopefully we hear back from her and she wants to come back.
Yeah.
But so Cody and I record our last episode and I was like, I want to do another one. So we're here doing another one. And this is actually a new topic that I literally threw on a Trello board. I think it was last night.
Yeah, and you just told me about it. I didn't even know.
I did. I was like, let's just riff because I hear this all the time. And I don't think people know what this actually means. And so Cody threw out the meme like from Princess Bride, where he's like, you keep using that word. I don't think you know what you think it means. But it's on the topic of documenting processes. And when you say that, what does that actually mean? Like there's two instances that I hear and see this all over the place. And one is people always stress the importance of documenting your processes, but they don't explain like why or what is a process that you need to document. And then when do you need to document that process? And then the other side of that is when I see like people selling their agency SOPs, which standard operating procedures, or they're like selling their processes, or like you get free access to their processes. So addressing that second point first, real quick. Why are you buying a process to something for a service that you don't necessarily sell or haven't defined? Somebody else defined that process for their business. That doesn't mean it's going to work for your business, because I bet you that that process that you're buying or you're getting for free includes a paid tool in there somewhere that's either linked to an affiliate link or is part of their own program.
Are they offering it for free?
In some situations, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, eventually, like, I can see like us giving that away and just being like, this is what we do for like Google ads. But like, it's actually, I want to make it actually applicable to like local services in general. And like, this is a good like general process, but you need to still input your own thing. But
yeah, that is, I mean, I guess that's one thing I could see is maybe that those procedures aren't perfect or the process overview isn't perfect, but it's beneficial or valuable enough to just say, okay, yeah, I'm going to take this and then work from it. I'll use it as a baseline and then deviate with the personalizations that are needed. Maybe for some people that's worth the time and or money, or if they have nothing, if they really don't know, if they, like they really just don't understand the idea, then maybe they just need to see it so that they do have an idea of what that is supposed to mean or look like. Or I mean, I guess that's a visual, but I think you wanted to have us talk about what it actually means, right? Because people don't understand. And those words are, there's too many words used interchangeably that shouldn't be used interchangeably. Or if you do, then know that it's an accident. I think that the two biggest ones are process and then procedure. And those are two different things. The procedure is the documentation of, I like lost my voice there, kind of like died out. It's the documentation of a particular task. So it is how to do a thing. So if you document a procedure, that is how to do something. Higher up from that is the process, and that's the flow of time. That's the progression of those individual procedures. So you don't write processes, or if you do, that's okay, but just know that it's a nuanced thing. It's not going to hurt anything to say it that way, but that's the process is also the flow, right? Or that's what you should know, is that you need to define those or recognize those things as two separate parts. And I think where most companies go wrong with scaling or attempting to grow, if they're doing it from a similar position to us, which is not cash infused, bootstrapped, you're not in a position to, or I guess you want to retain your equity, so you're bringing on newbies who don't have experience, and then you're going to train them. Then you have to do these things very well, otherwise the business doesn't do well. Then yeah, you have to write your own documentation, create your own processes, and that's how you build a successful business, right?
Yeah, I think like a lot of companies who do want to kind of take on the role of documenting their processes or procedures, as you put it, don't really know what they're documenting. They typically know why. They're like, well, we want to scale. We want people to know how to do this service, but they don't know what they're doing because they haven't defined the procedure. And like when you first start, and let's just say you're contracting, you're like you're giving other contractors a procedure to follow. Like this is our process. This is how we do ads or do whatever you're delivering. And you want your contractor to deliver it that way, so you have some control of the actual product delivery. That is a document or something that you have to give them for them to do that. And how you make that document is really contingent of how well you know your own service. So what we did to define processes and procedures, dude, I don't even know which one to use now. So I'm just going to say both. I just hit the
How to
mic.
write procedures and then create processes.
Yeah. So what we did when we created processes was we just did things over and over. And then at a certain point, it kind of became second nature to us. And when we would do the work, so it's hard because like we're in the trenches, and we recognize that a lot of our listeners or first time listeners aren't in the trenches. They're like, hiring people to do things for them. And if you keep listening to us, I'm just going to keep assuming that you're going to bring things in house.
I was going to say, at least I want the first part to be to stop doing that.
Yeah.
to accept that you're going to start doing things yourself and not just have everybody else do your things.
I think people get overwhelmed because, like,
well, good. You
Well,
should
yeah.
be.
Well, I talked to this guy Jackson, and he gets overwhelmed. I think because like he's building WordPress websites, or at least he's hiring people to build WordPress websites, but he doesn't know how to troubleshoot or fix them when and if they break. And it's not hard. You don't have to know code. You don't have to know back end development or anything, but you do have to have a basic level of understanding of how WordPress websites are built. You should have a basic level understanding of what cPanel is, of what HTML is, of plugins, of just kind of, general WordPress troubleshooting. And all of that information can be found for free on YouTube and Google. And if you're overwhelmed, just know that the solution to your answer is maybe like 2 hours of Google searching.
Yeah, that's the
And
one that what I wanted to add in was, hey, early on, assuming that you're not doing much, which is okay, just know that your time will be spent learning, and that's a time intensive thing. That's a very different thing from just executing services. Because once you know how to do that, that's very fast. And Jake, we've talked about this, right? Where something pops up, something comes up where something is broken, and then it's frustrating because now we have to go learn that thing. And you don't know how long it's going to take to learn that thing. It could be 1 hour, it could be 3 hours plus. And that's annoying and frustrating because when everything is streamlined with the process, you're not worried about that. And then you can also accurately predict and project out those things. But especially very early, if you know nothing, you don't know any of those things, you're going to have to learn. And that's going to take a long time. And if you don't, then, you have to find the balance of when can I learn to a point that it's acceptable to offer the service and not go too far of, okay, I'm not ready yet. I'm not yet. Because at some point you have to say, I'm ready and I'm going to start doing it. But at least do some of it in house instead of outsourcing the whole thing.
I think it's one thing it's also one thing to consider too, that it's really tough to document a process or a procedure when when you're not productized. So if you're not productized and everything is hourly based, or everything is a custom solution, then your procedures are going to look way different to our procedures, because your procedures are going to be more so like how to set up a Facebook ad, when our procedures are how to manage Facebook ads for this package. And it'll be from like top to bottom. And it's going to be a lot more all inclusive, and it's going to require very minimal knowledge, and we can hire anybody to operate that. But when the procedure that you have, what you're doing is you're documenting the process on how to do a task. We're able to document with our productized services is we can document the strategy, because we've defined the strategy for everything. Where if you're not productized, there isn't a set strategy for anything. Everyone's going to be a little bit different. And so with that, when you're trying to figure out what you define as a process and you're looking to document that procedure, it's the first few times you do this, you're learning. So I think there's two stages. One is there's the your expertise and knowledge in being okay with, or being able to accept clients, essentially. And then there's a second part that comes afterwards, which is the time in which, or the situation in which it's okay to start documenting the work that you do. When you first start accepting clients, let's say you get your first client, you can't document your process. I think Marcus said he wanted to do this. He's like, I want to start documenting my processes. I was like, you don't even have a client in your niche yet. Like,
Yeah.
you have one client, it's an e-commerce client. It doesn't make any sense to document any processes yet, because you don't know the actual like structured path that's going to happen every time. And when we document a process, our procedures are clearly outlined about things that have to happen every single time in order. And on occasion, we'll throw in things like if you do this and this doesn't happen, then X.
Mhm.
And like, I mean, we just had one. I almost like snapped my keyboard in half because I was trying to access one of our host file, or I was trying to access our dev site through our host file, and it just wasn't working. I was doing everything right. I was troubleshooting it based on our own documentation on how to troubleshoot, and it just wasn't working. It didn't even occur to us until like a day later where Cody's like, "Do you have a VPN on?" And lo and behold, I turned the VPN off and it worked. And I was like, that's as simple as it was, but it wasn't in the process because we don't, or the procedure because we don't run into that all the time.
Yeah.
And so if you're defining procedures before you even define the process that happens repeatedly, you're going to be editing that procedure like every single day. And if you don't, that procedure is going to look vastly different from when you first do it to when you actually hand it to somebody to go do.
Mhm. Yeah. I'm glad for something that we just decided to freestyle and pull out of our butts. I've got a lot of notes written down as we started going, so I'm excited about this. Um, yeah, I think that 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 position, right? Of I'm new, I want to have procedures. I don't know what I'm doing yet. I'll go back to what I said. I don't know when I said it. It was a while back now. Um, when you start working, just record yourself, the whole thing. I don't care if it's 8 hours of work. You've got nothing else to do anyway. You've got nothing else to go off of. So if you're doing something that's new, just open up whatever. I don't care what you're using. We use Google Meet, but you can use Loom, or I know there's a lot out there now. Just as you're working, do your screen share and then talk about what you're going through as you're going through it. And then you'll be able to come back to it later and address it. Because if you try to do that from your memory in 3 months, you're not going to know what you were doing. And you're not going to remember what it was that, where you clicked or what the thing was like. And of course, things will change. It has to be a living document because the UIs of different software will break. But that's part of life. But I think if you're starting from zero, then that's where you start. Once you finally have something and you're beginning with something and you're in there doing the stuff, just record yourself doing it so you can reference it again later.
Yeah, part of this episode came to fruition because I was looking at our own procedures that were changing. And we have procedure to document procedures. And when we were hiring for Angie's role, we literally had like, hey, here's our document to document procedures. Like here's the outline that you have to follow. And then here's a video of a process that we want you to document. And that was like kind of the gate on like how we're going to hire somebody for this role to be that procedure documenter. And I noticed, so part of that procedure documentation is to change the background of that procedure to yellow. So yellow basically means this is a procedure. Don't mess with it. It's like perfect. But then when Lissette, rest in peace, uh, when these people who didn't listen to the cold open are gonna be like, what? So when she went ahead and took it upon herself, when the UI did change for Google Ads in the setup, to she duplicated that. She changed the background to pink, and then like crossed out things that were no longer applicable because of two things. One, the UI changed, and then also because we switched reporting tools and we had to switch to a domain based email for access to Google tools. The email that we had for access to like Google Ads had to change to the domain based email as well. And that was part of that procedure that had to change. Like Cody said, it's a living, breathing document. When one thing changes, it has to change in your document. And it was something that she had already started. We didn't ask her to do it, but it was something that we had to address. And so now, like what Angie's role is now going back through that documentation and updating it based on a lot of those changes, but also addressing like new things that are different as well. And but that is the start to how I lost my train of thought.
Good. I'm ready.
All right.
Shout out Angie. Angie's new. She's Well, she was originally starting to be our just technical writer, and then we're like, we can't, because I have to like approve everything, because that's part of the process too. Is in order for things to get the yellow background and then the gold star of approval and then like a red check or a black check mark in the process, I need to review it and make sure that it's sanctioned and fully approved. So
Is it a
that
green
way,
check mark or is it a black? I think it's like I thought it was a green check mark.
so I noticed. Okay, this I noticed actually was that it depends
This is how
on.
anal we are on our documentation.
It's the important thing is that it's a check mark. I noticed that it's different in different. I don't know if it's different browsers or different, like Windows versus iOS. Because iOS, I saw that it was green, and I almost brought it up, and then I just realized it's a display principle that it decides to show differently.
It's like a navy blue gray.
Okay,
On
yeah,
my
so that's what
computer.
it is for us. But then on Mac, I think it's green, which is weird. But
Oh,
that's we can live with that. That's okay. But what's not okay is if we have new documentation and we're using it internally with the knowledge that or the assumption that it's okay and approved, and it's not. So that's why we have those extra steps too. So we know that if we're looking at something pink that's missing its gold star approval, that this is effectively beta documentation. It's better than nothing. We need to have something because something has changed and we need to be able to keep moving forward. But for now, you know, as you do it, as you follow along, something might just trail off. It might be different, or something might be missing, or something might be broken. That's more likely to happen in that stage. Now, if it happens with the formal official stuff, the answer is always tell Cody. So I can go and take a look and figure out why something's going, what happened, and we can fix it as soon as possible. Or I'm going to say, okay, fork it, right? Go make pink documentation or whatever color you want. And then we'll reference that temporarily as needed until we can readdress it, which has happened more and more lately. And that brings me to the other point I wanted to bring up. What happens when we do something like that, where things are moving too fast that I can't keep up, is, at least for the time being, right? Because it takes time to make somebody an expert on a particular topic where they can manage it as well as me with the things that we've got going on presently. I make a video. So I look into it, and everybody, it's a big joke internally of how the videos suck and they're so annoying because it's me staring at a screen for 5 minutes saying nothing.
It's literally like it's funny because like the actual, like if you were to cut everything down into like actionable steps, the video would be like 10 minutes long.
Yeah,
but they're like an hour long. Like literally.
It's like watch Cody think in real time.
There's a lot of I watch them, and I hate this because when we don't have a process documented and you're like, I have a video on this, I'm like, oh, because I'm just like,
Yep.
I'm sitting there and it's a lot of you going like, and then we click on this and you go, that's not right. Then you go back.
So that's perfect that you said it, because that's exactly what I wanted to bring up. Is you will have companies who say, oh yeah, we have documentation, or we have a process for this. That's what they say. Actually, we have a process for this. And what they mean by that is somewhere there's a video of somebody doing it. Well, great. Awesome. I'm glad that the information exists somewhere in a recorded way that can be referenced. But, if you're Jake, like you just said, and it's something outside of, the typical wheelhouse of what you're responsible for, and you're like, okay, I'll just tag in. I'm going to help out because we got to get this thing moving, and it's okay because I can just follow the process. And then you hear there's a video. It's okay. Well, this is going to take at least 4 times longer than it could. Right.
Yeah. It's because it's like, if you could have just told me what to do, it could be 30 minutes, but now I've got to watch the video for an hour or like skip through it, and it's going to take me 2 hours because I'm going to miss the parts that I need.
Yep.
I'm going to mess something up.
Yeah. So that's why the written portion is important, is to be able to go back and just do it quickly, reference it quickly, instead of having to, pay for that time, because you're paying for people's time or you're losing it yourself. So the other thing I had was then just you mentioned about the different kinds of services and if they're more customized, then you're going to have to write more vague documentation. It's not going to be click here, go here, type in this exactly, blah, 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 blah. And so we have this kind of split at different times depending on where you're at or what you're working on. And I think a very good example of this is Google Ads, where once you get to the Google Ads documentation for us, man, it is a lot higher up compared to the other stuff that we've done. Because if we said, make this campaign and we're going to detail every click that you do while you do it, no. It would take longer to make the campaign that way than if you just learned Google Ads. So that stuff is a lot more, it's more of a checklist. It's here, you have to do this here, you have to do this here. And the way that we do that is when there's a newbie, I just train them on how to do those things the first time because they're not very hard. You just have to see it once. And then we do still have the videos to reference if they need them. But then those portions are just checklists and you have some room for personal judgment and decision on what you think needs to be done or what's better or more proper, depending on that particular situation. But that's a judgment call, and you have to decide. You have to make a decision on where am I going to stop going so deep with click here, type here, and when am I going to go further up and say, okay, the person doing this needs to have a minimum level of understanding on X, so that when they're doing this, we don't have to do click, 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 right? It's okay. I understand the subject matter, and now I can just follow along accordingly. I think maybe a similar example would be anybody who at this point in time is putting like Microsoft Word on their resume, right? I hope so. Right. And not to say that that's bad. If you have to do that, I mean, that's a good thing to put on a resume if that's a skill for you, because that's a signal that should be sent that you actually aren't as techie as you could be. But
yeah, if you like, I mean, if you skipped Word and you put like Excel, like if you're knowledgeable in Excel, I'm going to assume that you're knowledgeable in Word.
Yeah. Yep. Or you write like Excel advanced, like, okay, cool, I can say pivot table and you're not going to get scared.
Or if you write HTML, like, okay, well, I don't have to ask about Microsoft products.
Yeah. But something like email, right? saying I'm skilled in email. Like, okay, good. Good. I hope so. So that's another, that goes almost into documentation theory or technical writing theory, where when you start writing, you need to think about where you're drawing a line on anybody who reads this, the level of knowledge that they have. I'm trying not to go, I don't want to go too deep into it because I can really geek out over this stuff because I like writing. But even the individual words that you use, you have to think, if somebody who's reading this in English isn't their first language, is this the best word that I can use here? Can I use something simpler that's going to get the right idea across?
It's really good for our listeners who use contractors who want to like document their processes and like have, a VA in the Philippines do something. Like that's really important too. Like, is it simple English enough to where if it's not their first language, will they understand exactly how the procedure exactly how you want it done?
Yeah. So
I think people they'll cop out and they'll just be like, well, I'm just going to make it as generic as possible then, because, and if you don't take our advice and you don't truly think about the granularity in which each of your steps need to be, that's fine until it's not. Like until
yeah.
until things start breaking, or you're constantly getting pestered from either your contractors or your internal team on like, hey, like this isn't working because a process is broken or something. Hold on one
Yeah,
sec.
I think about that with Google because it was Lissette a few months ago. I think she messaged me and said, "Hey, did you see the new Google Ads redesign?" I actually hadn't yet. I was only reminded of this because I went into somebody else's account yesterday, and then I saw it there, and I thought, "Oh, okay. Well, this will it won't break a ton. It'll break a few things though, because saying something as simple as look in the upper right for the navigation, right,
Mm-hmm.
of here's where billing is or that sort of thing. Well, they just moved it right now; it's on the left, so." Uh, it's frustrating, but that's why it's alive. And that's why you have to also stay on top of it.
Yeah. I think like being able to add comments and notes into existing documentation is helpful. And then like tagging Cody, being like, hey, this isn't in the upper right anymore. Or like, I can't find this. Like, and then, oh, okay, well, let's jump on and look. Oh, this is different. This needs to be updated.
Mhm.
But, um, but yeah, I mean, that's most of what I wanted to say on the importance of documenting processes. And it's not even the importance of it because we've had an episode on the importance of it, and it is important. But I think what gets lost in translation is why document and how to document and what you're going to document. And I mean, I can name companies that I won't, but like there's a lot of companies out there who they want all their processes documented, but they don't have a procedure for documenting processes, which should honestly come first, because if you don't have a procedure, all of your procedures are going to look different. If like,
And an example. Give somebody something to work off of, right? I mean,
yeah,
give them the rules, but then show them an example of the rules.
like I wish I could pull up our rules and just like read them off. Wait, don't we have it? Where is it at?
Yeah. Let me get it
Is it
pulled up.
is it in procedure documentation?
Yep.
Oh, I found it. I got it. Okay. So I'll read like the first four. So and the title. So the title of it says concise description of procedure and title. And then an explanation. It says provide an explanation right here, and then steps. Only nest steps to provide further explanation of the same step. Period. 2. Make nested steps alphabetical. Parentheses. Use letters instead of numbers for bullets. And then like there's an example A. This is a nested step. Period. 3. Put clickable items in quotes and match the case appropriately. A. Period. If the button says all caps in quotes start now, write that instead of start now in sentence case, or start now in all lowercase. 4. Put punctuation outside of quotes. Period. A, like this, and it shows an example of like this in quotes, and then the period on the outside. And then B, not with quotes like this with the period inside the quotes. Like some of these are grammatical, but like it's just like a consistency thing too. And so there's even like step 7. Each step will end each step with a period. Period. So every step has a period at the end of it. And like some of this is like again grammar, some of it's actual processes and like how the documentation is going to work. But then there's like if everything is the same, it just kind of shows you like the importance of everything being the same. That way you can't tell at Evergrow which document was written by who, because it all looks the same and it all sounds the same. But if you work for a company that they give everybody like free will to document whatever they want, however they want, everything is going to look so different, and some people suck at it, and you're
Yep.
not going to be able to hand that off to someone new. So we took the personality. There should be no personality in documentation. You add personality into it and things get confusing, and it's not it's not structured. So this was the document that we provided in our application process of like, hey, this is the document we provide, and then there's a video along with it, and basically said, watch the video and provide a document that's concise about that video. So someone had to watch the video for like 30 minutes. I don't know how long it was. Maybe it was like less than that. But um, obviously in their documentation, they cut out all the steps that weren't necessary. So like things that they didn't need to click on. Maybe there was a mistake in the video and they're like, oh, that wasn't it. Well, don't put that in a document. And then the document becomes like this half page sheet of the steps, whereas the video was like 30 minutes. So, um,
Yeah, it takes a special kind of brain, I guess, to or a certain level of detail to be comfortable with the writing portion at least. But I think the important thing to remember when you're reading it is that you have a full spectrum of people with various attentions to detail reading it, so that if you don't have those things outlined, like, hey, here's how you do the punctuation in this case, or here's when to nest things. If you don't do that, you're gonna have people reading it and about to have an aneurysm because they're like, what is going on? Why is where there's no logic? What is, and it might be something big or it might be something little. And you can come back and say, look, it's if you were able to accomplish the goal, then it's fine. If you did what we needed you to do, then it's acceptable. And that's okay too. That is all really that matters in the end. But I pointed out to the team a lot too, where I just say that is the stuff that sets the upper level experts apart from just everybody else. Is, do you have the extra attention to professionalism? Are you noticing those things and doing those things consciously instead of just having those be accidents? I think that example of the nested step is a perfect one, because when people who don't know anything about it go in and start trying to do something like this, and they think, wait, is this the next step? Is this the next step, or is it just, am I explaining something about the previous step? Well, if you don't think about that at all, then you end up with 99 steps. And it's not 99 steps. It's actually only maybe 20 steps. And you just need to clarify a few things. And you need to outline and explain those things. Otherwise, yeah, it raises my blood pressure, right?
I'm waiting for us to release this to the public and just be like, this is our free like thing. And then like everywhere you go, like you see the same documentation outline.
I would love it. I'd be happy. Yeah,
But
there might be something like it out there already. That's when it's funny. Angie studied this in college. She studied technical writing. So when we started working on stuff together, I told her, hey, I don't have a technical writing background, technically, right? I've done a lot of writing. I've researched a lot of writing. And for a while, I was in the writing program, but I am not the technical writing background. So these rules I've decided because they bother me. So if there's other people out there who are the supposed experts or the pros, and they have other things, please tell me. I want to know. I want to know, and maybe we integrate those things. But if not, this is what I've decided, at least in the meantime, because I don't have a background, and I know enough to know that it bothers me. And I think it's also kind of funny.
maybe it's one of those things where like we like when we launch our courses or whatever, like we don't give away like our procedures because they're specific to us and they're not applicable to you, and it's only going to set you in the wrong direction. But like things like this is what we give away, like how to document your procedures, because it doesn't matter what you do or how you do it or what niche you're in. This is agnostic with documentation.
Yeah. I remember when I worked at Walmart, I once had to look at I think they called them SOPs, right? Standard operating procedures. And it was comical. Like it was so, because the company's so big that they need a SOP for everything. And in the nicest of ways, they need to make them as dumb as possible.
Why is that?
So I think it was something about like mopping or cleaning something up, and it had an estimated time like a time estimate on how long it should take you to mop something. It was all just very funny. Like
Wow.
to think that, okay, yeah, I guess some people might need to know how long it should take them to mop up a spill.
When I worked at Home Depot in college, I uh, was on a reach truck, which is basically like a cut in half forklift, and there's no seat; you stand up on it. And then there's no steering wheel. It's like you turn this dial to turn, so it pivots like really fast. And I was in the building materials section, and I turned a corner too fast, and my fork punctured roofing tar,
Oh,
like a 10-gallon bucket of roofing tar, and that roofing tar went everywhere, all over the aisles, and my shift ended in 10 minutes. I didn't leave for like 3 hours.
that's brutal.
Because I had to sit there and clean up that roofing tar. And like to this day, if you like the most of that stuff got like cleared out. It's been 10 years since this happened. That most of that stuff got cleared out. So like the main aisles, it's no longer there. But if you pull that roofing tar out and you look like underneath the racks, you can still see some of that tar there.
Like leftover Jake.
Dude, it was so bad.
When you were growing up, if you did something like that, like spilled milk or, dropped a pop, was it a big deal? Was it an issue in your family?
For me, it was not for my parents. I think like I remember dropping the milk, and I remember like being so defeated and upset with myself and like crying. I was like 16, 17. Just kidding. No.
Like I was gonna go with it. Like, hey, it's okay.
No,
Look, we all got things.
No, I was I don't know, like 6 or 7 maybe. I being upset with myself, and I remember my mom just being like, "It's not that big of a deal. It's just milk. Like we'll clean it up." But like, I think she also recognized that like I was very upset with myself.
Mm-hmm.
I remember one time I dropped it was the last TV dinner. It was a chicken nugget one, and I was super excited. And I put it on the microwave. It was hot, and I dropped it, and it like fell on its face. That was probably the worst day of my life, honestly.
It was like kid cuisine or something.
Yeah, it was. It was 100%.
Yeah.
Dinosaur nuggets.
Those are good. They're brownies. I had one a while back. The brownies they were the best, and they're still the best.
Mm-hmm. I think my favorite kid cuisine, my favorite one's always the pizza. It's always gonna be pizza.
Okay,
Pizza
ask me if it was a big deal.
What's the big deal in your house?
Yeah, it was a huge deal. Yeah, it's taken me a long time to rewire my brain to know that it's not a big deal. But yeah, military household, it was just like, wow, way to start World War III. Okay. And it was hard at first because Jenny will say it too. She'll just say it herself. She'll say like, I trip up more frequently than Cody, because he's been self-conditioned to through fear to not do even minor mistakes, and I've gotten better over time. But and now I would argue almost better than her in some cases, because she'll do something like that and then she'll get frustrated. I'm like, hey, nobody cares. There are no ramifications to this. Everything's totally fine.
It's weird because I grew up in a military. Like my dad was in the military, and I grew up in that kind of. It was a stricter household, I guess, for him. But my parents were divorced, so I got like both worlds. And I grew up with like the looser mindset of my mom. So I don't have like I'm more self defeated than anything, than like afraid or like conscious of repercussions of things. I don't want to let people down. I think that's my thing.
Yeah.
And so,
well, that's not a bad thing. Just don't beat yourself up too much.
It's to a fault though, I think, because I became a people pleaser, and now like my schedule is so full, and someone's like, "Can you help me with this?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course," and then I really can't.
Yeah,
and like
get overwhelmed.
You get the benefit because I help you, but then like I'm at home crying because I don't have time.
That's the infinitive you, but if you're saying you as in me, actually me, then it comes back to me, because I'm like, oh, Jake's in trouble.
Oh, is the infinitive you? Like people who message me on Facebook, they're like, "Do you have time for a quick call?" And I'm just like, "Sure," but I don't.
Yeah, When
So
I see it though, I do notice that or recognize it, and that's why sometimes I'll take it. And I'm like it's like leave Brittany alone. I'm like leave Jake alone. He'll say yes, and he can't. He shouldn't.
yeah, that's because I want to make people happy. Then why am I such a dick online? I don't get it. To people I don't know. All right. We're gonna end this because I gotta pee real bad.
We're good.
So
we talked about it.
Everybody, thanks for listening. If you got any questions, documentation, let us know. If we didn't cover something that you have a dying question about, let us know. Again, this was kind of off the cuff, so we could have missed some important details. But anyways, thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
See ya.